My interfaith story. My faith story can be divided into 4 stages. I was born into a Mennonite home. In our home, and later in college and seminary, I was deeply influenced by my Anabaptist and Mennonite religious heritage. I especially admired the humanitarian work of the Mennonite Central Committee. In the late 1960s, I was a university student in West Berlin. While in Berlin, I was privileged to work with the Mennonite Central Committee. In that role, I coordinated an East-West encounter that brought together Christians from both sides of the Iron Curtain. Participants who lived in Western Europe and North America welcomed the opportunity to meet with fellow Christians living in Poland, Czechoslovakia, and the German Democratic Republic, and vice versa. In those meetings, participants discovered that despite the political divisions of the Cold War, we were all members of one body, the Church. As an aside, I should add that I had to bribe a Polish official at the Polish embassy in East Berlin in order to obtain visas for 2 of the North American participants in that East-West encounter. A second stage in my faith journey was my 39-year interaction with Roman Catholicism and the Jesuit religious heritage at Georgetown University. I was a teacher at Georgetown during those years. I appreciated the pluralism of the faculty and the student body at Georgetown. My academic field was biomedical ethics. My views on several bioethical issues, for example, in vitro fertilization, differed from the teachings of the Catholic Church. Despite that fact, I was free to teach and write as I thought. I was also impressed by Catholic teaching on social justice and by the humanitarian work of Catholic social charities. Since the early 1990s, Sue and I have been members of this parish. This involvement with the Episcopal tradition marks the 3rd stage in my interfaith journey. What features of this parish and the Anglican Episcopal approach to Christianity do we most appreciate? Let me count the ways. Music is central to the life of this parish and to the Anglican religious tradition. Each week, the liturgy, and especially the Eucharist, provides a time for reflection on what is important in life. In the Episcopal Church, both women and men can be ordained to the priesthood. The priesthood is also open to people who are openly gay or lesbian. The governance of the Episcopal Church is democratic. Both lay people and clergy are involved in leadership, locally and nationally. There is also freedom of inquiry in the Episcopal tradition, an encouragement to think about our Christian faith in new and creative ways. And our parish is vigorously engaged in outreach. The 4th stage in my faith journey has been my encounter with Judaism and Islam. With Jewish colleagues at Georgetown University, I discovered the beauty of Jewish funeral customs. Sitting Shiva with family members of the departed is a deeply meaningful experience. I also pursued intensive studies of the Jewish Holocaust, and I taught a new course on ethics and the Holocaust at Georgetown. Between 2010 and 2014, I accompanied groups of seminary students and medical students on 5 study trips to Berlin and the Auschwitz concentration camp. In those settings, I sought to understand the suffering of the Jewish people, as well as the pervasive failure of the Christian churches to resist the genocidal programs of the Hitler regime. My encounter with Islam has been made possible by St. Columba's sponsorship of a Muslim family from Afghanistan. Sue and I were privileged to accompany members of this family to Friday prayers at the Muslim Community Center in Silver Spring. There, we were welcomed by Muslims from all corners of the world. The skin tones of the worshipers varied from quite pale to deep brown. We heard the Imam encourage the faithful to turn to the Quran for solace, especially when they were deeply discouraged. We also learned how the parents in this Muslim family, with their 3 sons, gathered each weekday in the morning for morning prayers before the children went off to school. In sum, my religious roots are in the left wing of the Reformation among the Mennonites and the Anabaptists. I now deeply appreciate the Episcopal Church and the Anglican tradition, which are often viewed as the right wing of the Reformation. In the meantime, my respect for the Catholic, Jewish, and Islamic religious traditions has grown. My hope is that we at St. Columba's and all people of faith will find ways to collaborate in creating a world that is more just and more humane. Thank you.